lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Special Edition. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now we are joined by quite a few people. We've got Adam Meakin, Betty, Paula and Quantum Eraser, but I think the majority of what we're going to hear is going to be done by Quantum Eraser, so if you want to all say a quick hello, we'll get straight on with the point of this particular broadcast. Hello all.
Hello, good night.
Hello.
Hello Adam.
And sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, good evening everyone.
Hello.
Okay, so we've got a little video. Do I need to play the video straight away?
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up. Start at 1526 and stop at 1721. Of course, we have to introduce this. The other day, I was just screwing around with some videos. It was yesterday or day before yesterday, and I seen Jose's video come up in the recommended, and I thought it was that day's video. So I said, I'll listen for this couple minutes and then head off to bed. And I pulled it up, and it was like a week or 10 days ago. And who was on there? Gem Panda. And I love it. I like it when he opens his incoherent pie hole because some lunacy comes out. So that's what happened. This is just going to be a quick presentation on the absolute train wrecks that come out of this clown's mouth. So, yeah, go ahead and start at 1526. Stop at 1721, please.
That's right. That's your take. I can pull up multiple independent sources that quote the same concept, the scientific method, how it works. Here's one. Step one, make an observation. Okay, that's always the first step. If you ask a question, you're asking a question based on something you've observed, whether you like it or not, right? Okay, so make an observation. Step two, ask a question. Step three, formulate a hypothesis. Let's see, it's going to the next page. Step four, conduct an experiment. Step five, analyze data and draw conclusions. I mean, it's all basic. This is science 101. This isn't
exactly
confusing.
Did you
there
not
isn't anything.
Did you not listen to what Jeremy read to you?
Just
I mean, that's just one of many ways in which we can.
No, it's the only way.
What you've got, Chris, you're right. It's science 101. This is a basic idea of a scientific method that's taught to students, like it said in one of my quotations, to give them an idea of the process. And that's fine. That's fine to teach that to kids when they're at that basic level. And when and that method is used in physics and chemistry, but it's not the only method, because we can't use that to do things like natural experiments when we make large studies of, I don't know, the breeding patterns of birds, for instance, and all of that just gets chucked out.
That's not. There's a reason that's not science. There's a reason that what you call diet science isn't science.
Well, and you're going to have to go out and convince the world.
Jesus Christ, bro! Can I get a sentence in?
Because the only reason that you can say that's not science is because you're subscribing to Quantum Eraser's bogus method.
Yeah, by what authority?
The rest of the world does not negate things like that as science. So there's a mismatch somewhere.
Okie
dokie.
Yeah, right. So this is Gimp Panda, King Dunning-Kruger, Pretender Clown of the Millennium. I mean, like I've said, all you have to do is leave these people open up their mouths, and they just bash their own heads in with a shovel. So let's go over to some of the things he said here. All right, Gimp Panda. That method is used in physics and chemistry, but it's not the only method. Well, the reason that method is used in physics and chemistry, Clown Show, is because physics and chemistry are actual sciences. That's why. So it's not the only method. There's only one scientific method. That's why they call it the scientific method. You see this? You see that? It's singular. There's no S on the end. You daft muppet. From Chemistry of Bot, and Maureen Helmstein, PhD Biomedical Sciences, the scientific, here we go again, method. The number of steps varies from one description to another, mainly when data and analysis are separated into a separate step. But this is a fairly standard list of 6 scientific method steps, which you're expected to know for any science class. Duh. The next train wreck. This is a belly laugher. I love this. All right, Gimp Panda. We can't use that to do things like natural experiments. He said we can't use that, and that is the scientific method, to do things like natural experiments. When we make, large studies of, I don't know, the breeding patterns of birds, for instance, I don't know what it is with these pretender clowns, but birds have been showing up everywhere. First it was birds landing, now uh, breeding patterns of birds. Last week we had supernatural birds nest. These people got a thing for birds or something. I don't know. So let's get to this natural experiments, right? From their alma mater wiki, natural experiments are a different type of quasi experimental design used by researchers. It differs from person by person treatment in a way that there is not a variable that is being manipulated by the researcher. Wonder what that variable is, eh? Quasi. From Oxford, seemingly, apparently, but not really. Synonym quasi, pseudo, not real, or genuine, sham, spurious. I love this one. Check this out. From Craig P., using natural experiments to evaluate population health interventions, New Medical Research Council, guidance, the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health. Let's take a listen. The term natural experiment lacks an exact definition, which is a tear-jerking belly laugher, and many variants are found in the literature. The common thread in most definitions is that exposure to the event or intervention of interest has not been manipulated by the researcher, i.e., this is read, no viable independent variables equal no experiment. Outside a randomized controlled trial, it is rare for variation in exposure to an intervention to be random, so special care is needed in the design, reporting, and interpretation of evidence from natural experimental studies. And causal inferences must be drawn with care. Natural experimental studies are more susceptible to bias and confounding. Natural experimental studies are often recommended as a way of understanding the impact of population level policies on health outcomes or health inequalities. We're not seeing any birds humping in here yet there, Jeremy. These are important areas of public health policy. Check these out. Suicide prevention, air pollution control, public smoking bans, and alcohol taxation, where natural experimental studies have already contributed a convincing body of evidence. So, not seeing any birds humping in here, Jeremy. What's up? From the Encyclopedia Britannica, natural experiments are used most commonly in fields of epidemiology, political science, psychology, and social science. Where's the bird humping science here, Jeremy? Epidemiology, what's that? Right? That's population health. Human population health, not birds. Political science, you're a train wreck. Let's take a look at some natural experiments. I mean, this guy, what do? You just make stuff up? You don't even know what a natural experiment is. Let's take a listen to some of these. The list of natural experiments. The organ health insurance experiment. That's a natural experiment. Doesn't sound like birds humping in there, Jeremy. Number 2, lifetime earnings in the Vietnam era draft lottery. Evidence from the Social Security administrative records. Not birds humping. We're not getting there just yet. Minimum wages and employment. A case study of the fast food industry in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Great natural experiment there, Jeremy. clown show. Number 4, the 1918 influenza pandemic over. Long-term effects of the in utero influenza exposure in the post-1940 U.S. population from the Journal of the Political Economy. Heavy science in here, boy. In utero Ramadan exposure and children's academic performance in the Economic Journal. Another of our famous natural experiments. Number 6, the Dutch famine study. Are they talking about Dutch birds? Number 7, the impact of the Mariel boat lift on the Miami labor market, Industrial and Labor Relations Review. That's a great natural experiment. I'll bet you they were lining up for this one. Another natural experiment, differences in birth weight associated with the 2008 Beijing Olympic air pollution reduction, results from a natural experiment, environmental health perspectives. What are they, Chinese birds in here? I'm not seeing, there might be some down in here. Friggin' clown. Using Maimonides' rule to estimate the effect of class size on scholastic achievement. Another natural experiment. Media influences on social outcomes. The impact of MTV's 16 and Pregnant on teen childbearing. Are you seeing where we're going here, clown show? The 11th one, relationships between poverty and psychopathology. A natural experiment from the Journal of American Medical Association. Do the effects of early severe deprivation on cognition, that they're talking about you, Jeremy, persist into early adolescence? Findings from the English and Romanian adoptee study. 13, sources of human psychological differences. The Minnesota study of twins reared apart. Still not seeing any birds in here, Jeremy. Number 14, the colonial origins of comparative development. 15, mafia and public spending. Evidence on the fiscal multiplier from a quasi-experiment, natural experiment. 16, coming to the end here. Will there be blood? Incentives and displacement effects in pro-social behavior. The American Economic Journal. That's a heavy scientific journal right there, Jeremy. Still not seeing any birds humping up here. And the last one, Chernobyl's subclinical legacy, prenatal exposure to radioactive fallout and school outcomes in Sweden. I mean, this is a joke. You're a joke. Natural experiments. You wouldn't know what a natural experiment was if it landed on your face, spun around, and whistled Dixie. All right, comments, questions right here before we go to the next one.
Got another clip to play. Do you want me to play another clip?
Yeah, no questions or claims. We could just roll through.
Anybody else got any questions or claims?
Nope.
You got any natural experiments?
Well,
Wait
I
a
think
second,
that
wait a second.
The Dutch
Wait a-
ate the birds, by the way.
Wait a second. We're looking for these. This is what we're looking for, Jeremy. I mean, this is the birds humping. I mean, this one's getting his freak on. This is what we want, natural experiments, not MTV awards. This is what we're going for. You didn't show us any of these in these natural experiments. Huh? What's up? This is you, brother, right here. Unbelievable. Go on.
Shall I roll the clip?
Yeah, go for it. Let's finish this up.
Okay.
What I think is, I think they confuse the word experiment with science, and they think that only an experiment is science, and that's not true.
Right.
Science can fall. A lot of stuff falls under science, not just experiment.
Exactly.
Like what?
Yeah, that's right. Did you hear him? All right. So another, I don't know who this idiot was. He said, I think they confused the word experiment with science. He's talking about me, Nathan, and just a show. I think they confused the word experiment with science. Gimp Panda? Right. And they think the only experiment is science, and that's not true. Gimp Panda. Right. Just going along with him, huh, Gimp? A lot of stuff falls under science, not just experiment. Gimp Panda. Exactly. Thank you, Lord. From the University of Rochester Physics Labs. Listen closely. The scientific method distinguishes science from other forms of explanation because of its requirement of systematic experimentation, you bozos. You're done right here. Let's pile on. From Luar's Introduction to the Theory and Application of Molecular and Quantum Mechanics, the final arbiter of truth in science is experiment. From the Chair of Physics at Yale, the only way things change in physics is experiments. Everything is based on experiment. That's the only way we change our mind. Again, from the Chair of Physics at Yale, the best way not to worry about your old theories is not to do any experiments. Then you can just go home. From Richard Feynman, if it doesn't agree with experiment, it's wrong. In that simple statement is the key to science, clown shows. From Max Planck, experiment is the only means of knowledge at our disposal. Everything else is poetry and imagination. And finally, from the University of Rochester Physics Lab, check this out. See, the scientific method requires that a hypothesis be ruled out or modified if its predictions are clearly and repeatedly incompatible with experimental tests. You see this experimental test everywhere. Experimental test, experimental test, experiment is supreme. Experimental verification of hypothetical predictions is absolutely necessary. Oh, brother. Listen closely, you daft muppet, ornithological bondage peeping Dunning-Kruger pretender clown doofus. After this tear-jerking belly laugher, you could discover the cure for Ebola tomorrow, have monuments and statues dedicated and songs written in your honor. Yet if a fifth grade general science class got wind of your train wrecks of debacles here, you'd be belly laughed out of class, straitjacketed, and escorted by security to shady friggin' meadows. Please, 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 for everything sacred and holy, keep opening your incoherent pie hole, Gimp. Thanks for your ear. Have a nice day.
Any words from the panel? If not, that'll be where we round out. Total silence. Well, with that, I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to Adam, Paula, Betty, and Quantum Eraser for making this special edition possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!